Hi everyone, very good evening to all of you. Once again, I welcome you all in the Titan batch, and we are here to discuss our modern Indian history. In the last session, I have just given you an introduction, and I just introduce you with modern Indian history. Today I'm supposed to start with decline of the Mughals, and then we will talk about the later Mughals also. But before that, I will take a brief discussion over history and the uses of history, why we need to study history. But before that, before starting the session, I will welcome you all this platform. So let me see who else are here. So here is Nigam, Ashifa, Raju, Aditi, Sandhya, Pavan. Everyone, very good evening. Very good evening to all of you. Very good evening. Very good evening. Amir Mehraz, I think here is new batch also. That's why comment like rain here. Good evening, everyone. Very good evening to all of you. Very good evening. Good evening, everyone. Kashmir, Mansi, Mathili, Rajdev, everyone. Very good evening to all of you. Very good evening. Very good evening. So, you don't, what was the masses in regard to historiography? I could not get your masses so that I could respond to you, but there was something related to historiography, I think. I usually do. Bhavna, Harismain. Hi, sir. Good evening. Good evening, Rawat, Pratha Rawat. Okay, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Very good evening. Very good evening. Very good evening. So, can I start now? So see, in the last session, I have given an introduction. In the last session, I have given you an introduction. There was nothing, but simply there was an introduction. Right? Now, let me make a background. First of all, see, in modern Indian history, this is the very first class. This is the formal, this is the formal beginning of your modern Indian history. So, in this very first class, in modern Indian history, modern history, that is modern Indian history, of course, I'm going to start with the very first topic, that is 18th century India. 18th century India. 18th century India. That is the century of, that is the century of 1700. Century of 1700, right? So within 18th century, there are three big topics that I need to cover. First is decline of Mughals. Decline of Mughals. Decline of Mughals. Then later Mughals. Then rise or emergence of regional states, and then of course we will talk about socio-economic life in 18th century, of course. Then, of course, education about education. Last but not the least, that is called cultural religious condition. Religious and cultural and religious condition of India in 18th century. So this is a big topic that is called 18th century India. This is called 18th century India. So this is the topic that I'm going to start with. Even in the old NCERT, this is the very first chapter in modern Indian history, from where Bipin Chandra sir has started his book that is called 18th century India. And within this 18th century India, we have to study about the decline of the Mughals. Okay, there will be a brief discussion. Then later Mughals. Definitely I'm talking about the monarchs or the Badshahs or the emperor after the demise of what I say that is called Aurangzeb. And then emergence of regional states, So in political, ground, I have talked about the decline of the Mughals, later Mughals, and then emergence of regional states. So these are three topics, subtopics within this broad topic that is called 18th century India. Now within this topic itself, I need to talk about, I will be discussing socio-economic life of 18th century India. Then definitely I will talk about the education, the type of education, the condition of the education at that time, and then definitely in the last, but of course not the least, that is the cultural and religious conditions that was prevailing through the 18th century that we need to discuss about, right? Now why these things we need to discuss, that I will be letting you know about the things, and I will try to connect the dots of the 18th century, the major developments of 18th century of India, right? Is it fine with everyone? Is it fine with everyone? Is it okay? So you got the background. Is it fine with everyone? Can you please let me know? So this is going to the discussion now. So within topic. So this is a formal beginning. This is the very first class of modern Indian history, you can say. Right? Is it fine with everyone? That's okay. So Neha, Rajdev, Sagar, Rohit and everyone. Divya Dikshit, Aditya Raj, Mansi, Bhavna and everyone. And now this side, Prachi, Anjali, Siddharth, everyone is fine. Okay, now, but before moving ahead into this topic, into the discussion of this topic that is called 18th century India, I would like to talk a bit about history. What is history? Why we need to study history, right? And then we will come to the topic that is called 18th century India. Is it fine with everyone? And there was some query in regard to historiography. I would like to have that question again, because there are so many messages that I was not able to go through that. With that. What I say that called the masses. Okay. So, what is history? History is mystery. History is past. What exactly is history? I just want to know what exactly is history, right? Rafiq, I didn't get you actually. It is the very first topic of NCERT, but it will not only be NCERT, old NCERT, rather new NCERT will be there. Shekhar Bandyopadhyay's book, there is certain reference of that book also, that is a Placido Partition as well. So I will take all the references, you don't worry for that. Okay, now, so please let me know what exactly is history. What is called history? What is called history? What is history? Is history. Aarti Tyagi says, how over the period of time society has evolved is history. Okay, that's fine. 18th century is the first topic of modern history. Yeah, Tanvi, I'm starting this way. 18th century of India, right? History is something that is related to the past, includes events, records, and everything. Okay. What about others? Either of the book you can. Ishika, you can go by that. That is your choice. Definitely, you will find similarity between the UPSC Wallah and the class. Study of real story of the past. Story of the past and events related to first person. History is past. Okay. Bhagyalakshmi says history is past. Okay. Knowledge acquired by investigation is history. Who is this? Razveer Kaur. Okay, that's fine. Knowledge acquired by investigation is called history. Happened in the past. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So without wasting the time, I would like to share my thought over history. What exactly is history? So some of the answers are here that history is past. History is the study of past. Is the study of past. Study of past. Is it okay? Is it okay? History is the study of the past. Is it correct? Or is it incorrect? Or rather incomplete? Or rather incomplete? Incomplete definition of history. History is the study of the past. Is it okay? Is it not okay? Is it incomplete? Or there is something missing in this? See. Have you ever came to know that the history of India begins, that dates back to 20 lakh BC. 20 lakh BC. Have you ever counted this kind of the statement? Have you ever read about this statement? The history of India dates back to 20 lakh BC. Have you ever counted this? Have you ever counted with this fact? History of India in the last of the session. In the last of the session, I will be taking your doubts. Definitely, you don't worry for that. I will be, I will take you 5 to 10 minutes over your doubt, right? So can you tell me something? Now listen me very carefully. I'm asking you a question. I'm putting your question before you. History of India dates back to 20 lakh BC. Just give me yes or no. History of India dates back to 20 lakh BC. I'm not audible. Okay. Just forget about everything, carbon dating, uranium methods. Just forget about it. Have you counted this statement or not? The history of India begins or dates back to what I said, that is to the 20 lakh BC. Okay, that's fine. The story of a Stone Age in Indian context starts with, yes, definitely, okay, 20 lakh BC. That is fine now. Then my question is, there is a very valid question. Why not we start our history, that is the history of India, 30 lakh years back? There must be some time period over there. Definitely. Now listen me carefully. Now listen me very carefully. My question is, and that is a very valid question, and you need to think on that. And then you should give me your answer. History of India dates back to 20 lakh BC. Why not dates back to 30 lakh BC? My question is here. It's a very valid question. Have you ever thought? Yes. Because history is nothing but simply, it is, of course, it is the study of the past. There is no problem. But this past is related to the human activity. In Indian context, if I talk about in Indian context, the human activity started 20 lakh years back. That's why the history of India begins, that is 20 lakh BC back. Are you getting me? So history is the study of the past. It is not incorrect. That is not incorrect. That is not correct. That is not even correct. Rather, it is incomplete. So this is incomplete definition of history. So history is the study of the past, which is related to human activity, which is related to human activity. Related to human activity. This is the one thing that you should be very careful about it, very clear about it. Related to human activity, human activities, right? human activities. Is it fine with everyone? So history is nothing but simply it is the study of the past which is related to human activity in very simple words, right? Now my question is, fine, this is a study of the past. That is fine. It is a study of the past. That is fine. But this past includes what I say, stories, narratives, biographies, books, and a lot more, right? Are you getting me? Study of past is depend on the different stories that is coming down the lanes of the past, then narratives, then biographies, then books, and a lot more. Can I keep the every incident of the past in the fold of history, which is mentioned in a book, in a biography, is in the narrative, or in the past, or in the stories? Can I keep them, all these narratives, stories, into the historical account? Can I keep? Can I consider every narrative of the past, every story of the past, the books, biographies, in the category of history? So some of the answers are coming up. Rupesh, Abshar, Diksha, they are saying that no. So everyone, so unanimously you people are saying that no, but there is some of the answers are coming with yes. Okay. So most of you are saying no. The reason behind is that. What is that? It should be of some significance. Okay, Isita, depends on historian. No, it is not so simple. Sivani, save money, I hope. Okay, so too many messages are coming up. Should be some kind of evidence, Vinod. Okay, which written evidence is called history, human remains. Okay, no. Okay, Partha Rawat. Okay, so my answer is also no. We cannot keep all the narratives of the past in the fold of history. We cannot keep every incidence of the past in the fold of history, right? So why we can't keep these narratives into the fold of history? Let's talk about it. See, this word history is originated with the Greek term that is called historia. It is called historia, or sometimes it is called historia as well. Historia. Do you know the meaning of this historia or historia? What is the meaning of this? That is called inquiry. Inquiry. Which kind of the inquiry? That is called rational inquiry. So this inquiry should be rational inquiry. This inquiry can be scientific inquiry. Inquiry. That should be based on relevant facts and the figures. So inquiry. So inquiring about the past. Inquiring about the past is all about history. Is all about your history. That is called history. What do you mean by inquiring of the past? Suppose I'm a poet. Suppose I'm a scholar. But this poet, this scholar is a poor Mackay. He's a poor chap. And I will seek someone's patronage for my better life, for good living standard, definitely I will go to the court of any king, noble, or anyone. He will give me donations, he will give me endowments, he may give me land, and definitely out of these obligations, I will write in the praise of that ruler, that nobility, or my patron. And writing or documenting about his activity, I may be biased. I may be biased in writing about that personality who has given me patronage. Definitely, it will be a kind of favoritism in my writing. So that will be a biased writing. And whenever I will be biased in my writing, in my approach, I cannot produce a valid history. Are you getting me? And that happened. Most of the scholars who ever wrote a biography of his patron king, definitely he had highlighted the positive aspects, or some of the times highlighted the exaggerations, which is not true. That is not based on the relevant facts. That is not absolute truth into his or account. So it is the work of the historian to inquire about all those narratives, all those informations, and just filter out the valid facts and figures from that source, from that book. So that's why history is about inquiry, scientific inquiry, you can say rational inquiry, that should be free from the biases. It should not be favoring anyone. Are you getting me or not? Speed up. I didn't get the speed up. Yes, sir. Shruti requests her to speed up. The Greek word, that is Amita, that is not, it's Amita not, it's a Greek word, Historia. Are you getting me? Is it fine with everyone? Okay, it is clear to all of you? Nothing can be ideal. If somebody was writing that history is not free from the biases, so I'm saying nothing is an ideal state. So definitely we'll be carrying some kind of the biases, and it is our responsibility as the historian to get the the valid informations. Is it fine? That's great. That's great. Okay. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So inquiring about the past is your history, right? Are you getting me? So in this context, here is certain definitions for you. What exactly is history? What exactly is history? For you people who have not written anything, what is history? So now here is some information. So original term history comes from the Greek word that is called historia. That is called historia. That means inquiry or act of seeking knowledge. Act of seeking knowledge. Which kind of knowledge? That is called valid knowledge. And what is this valid knowledge? That should be based on rationality. That should be based on sufficient inquiry. Seeking knowledge that results from inquiry. Are you getting me? So what is history? So every story, every narrative of the past cannot be kept or categorized in the fold of history, right? That narrative, that story must be based on rational inquiries, that must have been counter-checked, then only it can be a part of the history. Is it fine with everyone? So this is the one thing that we should know about. So second thing, so this is the another thing that we need to know about history. Now another aspect, history is also about changes that occur over the time, right? So suppose in 1947 there was 1885. You must be aware of certain dates. 1885 is the year when Indian National Congress got formed. 1947 India won its independence. This is the time, that is called 2024, when we are here in our modern history session. on the platform of PWIS. We all know this fact, ठीक है ना? This history must be known to everyone, right? So 1885, 1947, what I say, that is, and this is 2024. So what the changes we have faced or counter during this time, during this period, the changes that we have felt, that we have experienced, that we have learned down the lanes of the past. So history is about the changes that occur over time. So what are the changes? Social changes, you may write, economic changes, political changes, cultural changes, anything. So from 1885 to 1947, 1947 to 2024 is also one of the components of the history. So history is also about changes that occur over the time. It is also about finding out how things were in the past and how things have changed. Even on this concept, in 2023, there was a question in your mains, UPSC mains I'm talking about, definitely, in your mains examination. Underline or highlight the changes in the society. Some question was something like this. I'm just telling you, okay, there is what are the continuities of continuity of the Vedic age in the modern times. Trace, question was something like this. Trace the continuity of the Vedic past in modern days or the present times. Are you getting me? So definitely, what was the condition of society? What was the condition of economy? What was the condition of religion? What was the condition of the culture during the time of the Vedic age that are being continued even this modern day, in this modern days? Definitely it must be changed. Not changed, rather it must have been modified. Definitely must be modified. Modifications हुए होंगे, definitely. But still there are the remnants of the Vedic age that still we are practicing this modern age. Are you getting me? So this was the question. So this is, secondly, history is all about changes that occur over time, and it is about finding out how things were in the past and how things have changed down the lanes. Are you getting me? So in history, we need to understand each and every topic in the model of continuity and change. In the model of continuity and the change, this is a very basic thing that I want to highlight, and this is a very basic thing about of your, I mean, what I said, of a basic thing that is of that is in regard to your historiography. Kashish, definitely we can. There are certain yajna that we used to perform during, what I said, during the Vedic age. Still we are. There are certain gods who were relevant, who were being worshipped during the later age. Still we are worshipping them. The rituals they were performing, still we are performing in the modern age. Is it fine with everyone? This is not the intro class. This is the very formal class. This is the very first class of your modern Indian history. But I have taken permission from you people to discuss only 15-20 minutes in regard to history, and then I will come to the topic, direct topic, that is of decline of the Mughals. Okay, Aditi? Okay, of course, different types of marriages also. That is also the part of that. Okay, now is it fine with everyone? Okay, patriarchal society, that you can also underline. Definitely, you people are well aware of the Vedic age. Okay, still it is in diluted form, but it is there. 4 ashramas are still in Hindu families. The people are practicing this. The responsibility of different varnas. Okay, so hence it is important to understand history in continuity and the change model. That's fine. Then periodization of the history. I'm just coming back to the topic. It helps capture the unique characteristic of a specific time. What happened during the ancient time, what happened during the medieval time, what happened during the modern times, right? So it helps capture the unique characteristic of a specific time and also allows us to identify and highlight the central features of each period. That is fine. So characteristic of each and every period. Now, James Mill, he was a British in his he authored a book that is called A History of British India, that is in year 1817. He divided Indian history on communal lines. He divided history on the communal lines. Ancient period, he termed it as Hindu period. Medieval age, he termed it as Muslim period. And of course, modern age, he termed it as British period. So this was the classification of Indian history by James Mill. That was on the communal lines, Hindu, Muslim and British period respectively. But later on, historians have divided Indian history into ancient, medieval and modern times. Now last thing, significance of historical studies. What is the significance of this? Comprehension of history empowers us to learn from it, guiding us as we navigate the present and shape the future. Are you getting me? That's why history is quite significant. Anyone can ask you, what is the meaning, what is the sense of studying history or reading history? So it's what? So learning or comprehending history is something that is empowering the common people to learn from it, to get guidance from it and navigate the present to shape or the craft the future. So that is the significance in a very nutshell of history, right? Historical studies. Now this is fine with everyone. Now I'm coming to the topic. I believe everything is okay now. Everything is okay. You came to know about history. Which kind of the past can be history? Which kind of the past cannot be the part of the history? Periodization of history and what is the significance of historical studies. It was a very brief discussion in regard to history. Now I'm directly coming to the topic. So this was my discussion. So this is the 18th century India, and in this 18th century India, the first topic that I'm going to discuss is decline of Mughals. Decline of Mughals. Then subsequently I will be discussing about the later Mughals, then emergence of regional states, and then socio-economic life of 18th century India, then education in 18th century India, then cultural and religious conditions during 18th century India. So this is going to be the topic of the discussion under this broad head that is called 18th century India. So the very first topic I'm going to pick, that is called decline of, what I say, that is called Mughals. Why the decline of the Mughals? So decline of the Mughals. Decline of the Mughals. Just to prepare a background, a solid background. For the next sessions, decline of the Mughals. Actually, see, the superstructure of, or simply you can say, the Mughal Empire was created in 16th century. 16th century. It was created in 16th century. In 1526, Babur established Mughal Empire. Then it attained its peak not in territorial sense, but in societal sense, cultural sense, political sense. We can say in one way during the time of Akbar. Not limiting to myself to the political extension. The period or reign of the Akbar was something where you can see the all-round development during the Mughal age, Mughal period. Whether it is your painting, this is your, what I say, architecture. Definitely, Jahangir bypassed Akbar in the realm of, what I say, the painting. Shahjahan bypassed Akbar in the realm of, what I say, the architecture. But overall development, if we consider, definitely it was the zenith of Mughal period. So almost all-round development had taken place during the reign of Akbar. Now, so coming down the lanes of the past, this was in 18th century. 18th century, Mughal Empire declined. Mughal Empire declined. Empire declined. Declined. Just try to understand the things. Declined. Mughal Empire declined. There are some scholars who had opined that with the demise of Aurangzeb, demise of Aurangzeb, with the demise of Aurangzeb, Mughal Empire, ME stands for Mughal Empire, ME stands for Mughal Empire. Mughal Empire declined in 1707. With the demise of Aurangzeb, Mughal Empire declined in 1707. But decline is not an event. That is something related to one particular personality. With the demise or with the death of Aurangzeb, it won't be right, historically won't be right to say that the Mughal Empire, the superstructure of Mughal Empire crumbled down. It declined, it disintegrated. In fact, decline is a process. Be clear. Decline is a process that took place over a vast period of time. It is not related to the birth or the death of any particular person. Rather, it is a process. So, whenever we are going to analyze the decline of the Mughals, we need to understand that process of decline. And the process of decline of the Mughal was not an event or a story of merely 1 year or 2 years. Rather, it had taken more than 50 years to decline and then disintegrate. This mighty empire, what was created by Babur in 16th century. In some sense, it got its zenith during the time of Akbar. In this context, it would be very apt to let you know that even after the death of Aurangzeb, Mughal Empire was an all India power. It was respected as all India power by the common masses. In the heart of the common people, in the mind of the common people, still Mughals were all India power. And it was. Actually, it was. Second important thing. The army of Mughals, even after the death of, yes, you please write down whatever I am telling to you, I am delivering, whatever I am giving you in the lectures, you should write it down, Girisha. Right? Even just to, I will be giving you what I say, the PPTs also and the PDF also, even in the summary of my classes will also be provided to you. You don't worry for that. But even I will recommend you, I will suggest you to write down all those points which seems important to you. Don't forget to write it down. Always be with your pen and paper so that you can keep sync with in this class, the movement of this class, right? So it will be better to write all the time. You will be focused. Anyways, so what I was talking about, so 16th century Mughal was, I was talking about, so after the death of what I say the Aurangzeb, still the Mughals were very powerful. The superstructure of the Mughals was still with a solid background. Army of the Mughals were still, it's a formidable state. Especially I'm talking about the artillery. Rajputs as a social collaborator, socio-political collaborator rather, I would say, of the Mughals were still alive. They were loyal to the Mughals. Maratha factor. Marathas were also loyal to what I say to the Mughals. And their political ambition was limited to Deccan only. They were not into the Marathas. Of course, administrative inefficiency inefficiency had surfaced during these days after the demise of Aurangzeb, but it was not collapsed. It could have been rectified. So it won't be right historically to comment this way that with the death of Aurangzeb, Mughal Empire declined. Rather, it is a process. It had taken more than 50 years to experience this decline. Decline is something that is called, it's a kind of a fissure, you can say, and that you call the bond which was started diluting, it started melting, which had kept the superstructure of the Mughals intact. No, Kaushalya, no. Please focus in the class. Whatever, अभी मैं जो कुछ भी कह रहा हूँ, listen it very carefully, because with the broader understanding of history, you will be able to answer with accuracy in your exam. Otherwise, you will look the question over Mahatma Gandhi, you will write about Mahatma Gandhi. You will see national movement, you will write about the national movement without comprehending the nature of the question. So listen me very carefully. And I'm damn sure about this. I'm pretty sure about this fact, that you must have this understanding before this discussion that in 1707, Mughal Empire declined. But what is the meaning of this decline? What is the meaning of this decline? Now it would be very much clear to you. So decline is not a pinpoint event, rather it is a process that rolled down to the lanes of decades. Is it fine with everyone? Is it fine with everyone? Is it fine to everyone? I will come to this topic. I'm just letting you know what do you mean, how you see the term decline of the Mughals. Is that fine with everyone? So just try to understand whatever I'm telling you. आगे मत जाओ, पीछे मत देखो. जो मैं बोल रहा हूं उसको सुनो. सुनो नहीं बल्कि समझो. Just try to comprehend whatever I'm delivering. Is it fine with everyone? Every piece of information will be very clear to you. Just keep patience. Right? So what I was talking about, so decline, right? So Mughals in 16th century started, they established their empire, and by 18th century it started declining, right? It not declined, rather it started declining, right? I'm giving you a flow chart. See, 1707, there's a 1 year, then not 1707, yes, then 1750, 1750, then 1759, then 1803, and then one more year I'm taking, that is called 1857, right? Yes, Shruti, you can say this way. So in 1707, it was a year when demise of Aurangzeb had taken place. Demise of Aurangzeb had taken place. In 1750, Mughal Empire started disintegrating. So disintegration of Mughal Empire. What do you mean by this disintegration? Disintegration means, that is called the breaking of the empire. Now the empire was started dividing into, or I mean what I say, that is called disintegrating into different regional states. So this disintegration of the Mughal Empire actually started somewhere around 1750. And by 1759, Mughals were no more a military power. So the military might of the Mughal didn't lose, just after the demise of the Aurangzeb. Rather, it continued. The army, the military power, the military prowess of the Mughals was still continuing, and they were in the formidable state. The military power of the Mughals was lost somewhere around in 1759. They were so weak and timid. Now they were dependent on the others. They were just the face. They were no more a political power in actual sense. And that's why in 1803, Britishers raised to Delhi. And the Mughals were just a political pensioner to the Britishers. Are you getting me? So by 1803, in 1803, Britishers raised to Delhi. Mughal emperor was a pensioner of the Britishers. Are you getting me? So what the process started in 1787 after the demise of Aurangzeb is something now it is very much visible. Disintegration of the Mughal Empire. The Mughal were no more a military power. Britishers came to Delhi, raised to Delhi, and the Mughal emperor became a political pensioner to the Britishers. And finally, by 1857, the empire lost. The Mughal Empire lost. So now you could understand this is the process, this is the complete process of decline and the disintegration of the Mughal Empire. The process has started, of course, it started with the demise, after the demise of what I say that is called the Aurangzeb. But it was not a pinpointed event, rather it was a process. Now you could understand that passed through different stages of decline and disintegration. And finally, Mughal Empire lost its existence just after the first revolt of 1857 and first war of independence, that is called 1857, revolt of 1857. Are you getting me? What is pensioner? Pensioner means that now you are in existence. I'm taking your all power, your political power, your revenue power. You're no more a military power, and you are just dependent on us, and I'm giving you pension for your livelihood. So they were dependent. In other words, they were completely dependent over the Britishers. If someone is dependent economically over the others, it means what? He is no more a political power. Is it fine with everyone? So this is the entire process. Now, are you getting me? So this is the entire process of the decline of the Mughals. Disintegration of the empire even not started after the demise of Aurangzeb. Even I will let you know a very interesting point. Even after the death of Aurangzeb, there was a time, there was an opportunity for the revival of the Mughals during the time of Muhammad Shah, popularly known as Muhammad Shah Rangila. There was a time, but after Muhammad Shah, Mughals had no opportunity they lost their all opportunity to revive and attain their past glory. That was the last opportunity. If Muhammad Shah would have been a capable ruler, a competent military commander, a visionary person, he could have been saved, he could have saved the Mughal Empire, could have secured the military might, what we had lost in the next 50 years after the death of what I say that is called Aurangzeb. The process started to Kausalya. I'm talking about this. So these are the factual things. This is okay. That is fine. Shah-e-Bekhavar Muhammad, actually it is Bahadur Shah first. Is it fine? Actually, still they were all India power. They were the all India power in the common psyche of what I say, the common psyche of the people. Although they were declined, they were weak enough, but they were all India power in the minds of the common people. If they could have been directly removed from their offices, people may have raised into revolts and rebellions. So the Britishers used them as a face value, and the actual power was in the hands of the Britishers at that time. And my concern here is just to let you know that Mughals were not dependent over themselves. They were not independent. Even for their economic needs, they were depending on the Britishers. Is that fine with everyone? So depending on the pension that was provided by the Britishers for their survival. Yes, Kuldeep, you're right. During the time of Muhammad Shah, invasion of Nadir Shah had taken place. Which word you didn't get, Unnati? I'm coming to the point also, Neha. Coming to the point also, just making you understand. With this discussion, I just want to let you know which word you are not getting. Just let me know, Unnati. Please ask the questions or doubts. End of the session. Please, we are missing the continuity. You can raise your Vanilla. You can ask me. Oh yeah, Devans. It is a very intellect comment that you are cracking. Okay. So what I made you, I mean, what I tried to make you understand is that with the decline of, if somebody is saying, okay, with the demise of or with the death of Aurangzeb, Mughal Empire declined, Mughal Empire disintegrated. It is not correct. Decline of the Mughals was a process that continued for a longer period of time, and finally Mughals lost their existence in year 1857. Pranay, it is fine. It is sufficient. I will take some of the questions at the last. अभी तो अभी अलग बात हो रही है सत्यम. 𝐂𝐇𝐀𝐍𝐃𝐄𝐃. Sometimes also use Hindi words. Probably Abhishek. Well, I taught in some of the classes. So everyone is okay now with this understanding? Are you enjoying this kind of a discussion? Please let me know. Purani Delhi, Deepak. People, are you enjoying the session? Are you getting the dots connected? Please. Everyone just let me know. First of all, let me know what I am intended to let you know. It is going directly into your minds or not? Are you enjoying this discussion or not? Yeah, फटाफट वाला. सबका साथ सबका विकास है सामने. Sanjuli, I'm speaking only English here, where I'm using Hindi. Okay, everyone is fine, comfortable. Everyone is comfortable. Okay. Now, so this is the thing. Now I wanted to let you know, right? So with the demise of, with the death of Aurangzeb, that are what I am doing here. अभी इस बैच से ही जुड़ी हुई बातें करते हैं. It will be better for us. That I'm going to talk about Ganji or something like that. Okay. So is it fine with everyone? So we got this now. Now the next question, the topic of the discussion is how Mughals declined. Now I'm coming how or why Mughals declined. Mughals declined. Now this is the question, or yeah, you people will be comfortable because you will get the points. Now point number 1, why they declined. Point number 2, why Mughals declined. Now you were expecting this type of the answers because it is related to this topic. Why Mughals declined, how the Mughals declined. Now your answer will be here. Some of the in this fast moving comments, I got some of the messages. Okay, sir, what were the facts? What were the factors for the decline of the Mughals? Now it is coming here. It is going to be discussed here only, right? So just try to be a compliant boy and a girl, grown-up child. Be a grown-up child now. Okay. So now, so why Mughals decline? How Mughals declined, right? Now, first and foremost thing, I'll let you know that just because of the religious policy, one of the factors is religious policies. Because of the religious policies of Aurangzeb, religious policies of Aurangzeb was one of the factors towards the decline of the Mughals, that contributed in the decline of the Mughals. Are you getting me? So religious policies of Aurangzeb. So what was his religious policy? What was his religious policy? Try to understand. His religious policy was forceful imposition of Islam or his religion. Islam. What was his religion? What was his religion. His religion. What actually he was doing by this? Forceful conversion. Forceful conversion. Conversion into Islam. Islam. Imposition of jizya. Imposition of jizya. Imposition of jizya. Jizya was a tax taken from non-Muslims. Imposition of jizya over non-Muslims. Non-Muslims. Muslims. Now next, this is the A, this is B, this is C. Now D, destruction of the temples, etc. etc. So these are certain points that suggests, that indicates his religious bigotry. He was a pro-Islam. He was a pro-Muslim. He was not a liberal kind of emperor or Badshah that we had seen in the personality of Akbar. He was just a U-turn of, or the reverse of, what I say, that is called Akbar. Akbar had not created only, rather he sustained a big empire. Not only he sustained a big empire, rather he sustained the diversity of this country. Diversity of his territory. The people who are coming from different race, religion, castes, from different backgrounds. But still, Akbar somehow succeeded into creating a kind of physical bond. A kind of physical bond among this diversity. ये physical का bond है boss, इतनी जल्दी आसानी से छूटेगा नहीं. And that's why he created a big empire. That's why he was very much successful in creating and maintaining such a big empire. But what we have experienced, what we had witnessed in the personality of Aurangzeb, that was just, he was an antithesis of the Akbar. He was the product of rather antithesis of what I say, that is called the Akbar. It was just reverse of that. Are you getting me? So he was not only orthodox, he was not only conservative, Manjulika, rather he was a religious bigot. He was orthodox, he was conservative, but he was more than that, he was a bigot. And these are the examples of his bigotry. What happened? The social base of the Mughal Empire started shifting. Rajputs, Hindus, who were the base, who were the pillars of this mighty empire, started moving from the Mughal court. They started shifting from the Mughal court to the regional states. Are you getting me? So simply we know that is called, he was just the reversal of what I say, that is called of Akbar. I let you know, Vinod, antithesis. Actually, it is a Hegelian theory. If something, that is called the thesis. Thesis, are you getting me? Thesis, is there something that is called thesis? And just opposite to it, there is called antithesis. Antithesis. So that is the opposite of this something, right? So antithesis, and one day this antithesis becomes what? Thesis. And again it develops some antithesis, that is called synthesis, right? So antithesis is something that is called completely opposite to something. Definitely, Ahmad. I will pick your pick your points. If there is something that is missing that you are not getting, definitely I'll come back to you. You don't worry. Otherwise, it is okay to you, Ahmad, Irshad. Okay, Pragati also. Okay. No, Manju, look at this Marxist principle. That is a Hegelian principle, Hegelian theory. Hegel has given this, had postulated this thesis antithesis theory. Otherwise, it is okay, Irshad. We know that is who is something like Kattar kind of the people. Ahmed, I'm taking you, answer me. Is it okay now? Otherwise, everything is okay now? Okay. Definitely Kuldeep, he has more number of Hindus in his court, maximum number of Hindu Mansabdar were in his court, but on larger scale, he was anti-Hindu. He was anti-Sikh, Kuldeep. Ashish, definitely I will take, you don't worry. Okay. Is it fine? So this is called thesis. So now I'm coming back to this. So this is called religious philosophies or policies of Aurangzeb that was responsible for the decline of Mughals. Is it fine? Is it clear to all of you? Okay, I'm looking into the repeated comments. So definitely I'm going to consider it. You don't worry for that, right? Now please answer me. This point is clear to all of you. This is the very first point in the decline of what I say, that is called of Mughals. Is it okay with everyone? Please, everyone, just come here. Huh? Is it okay? That's fine. Okay, now coming to the second point that contributed in the decline of the Mughals, right? I'm coming to the second point. Second point towards the decline of Mughals. See, absence of rule of succession. Rule of succession. What is this rule of succession? Who will be the next king? It was not decided. It was not decided. Who will be the next king? It was not decided during the Mughal period. Anyone can, with the might, be the next Badshah, can be the next emperor. Anyone with the might in his hand can be the next emperor, can be the next ruler, can be the next Badshah. Are you getting me? So there was no rule of succession. Are you getting me? So what will happen? In the absence of this rule or such a rule, it will invite ambitious nobles, ambitious princes to fight among themselves, to struggle to get the throne. It will again create conspiracies, factionalism. It will destabilize the Mughal Empire. This is another factor. The princes and the nobility will be fighting among themselves to establish their control over the throne. So it was the politics of what I say, that is called war politics, that I am talking about. So just because of this, what I say, the absence of rule of succession invited princes, ambitious princes and the nobility to come and fight Can you imagine the situation? In this situation, कि भाई यहाँ पे everything will be fine. There will be no anarchy. There will be rule of law. Is it fine? Now, next, third point. Weak and incapable rulers. Definitely, Ashish, it was something like that. The people, the person with the might in his hand will rule, definitely. It was something like the principle of Darwin, survival of the fittest. Now, coming back to this discussion, weak and incapable rulers. We have seen a new development in the Mughal politics, not after the death of Aurangzeb, but after the death of Bahadur Shah first, who was the successor of Aurangzeb. And that new political element was the rise of or emergence of strong nobility who were playing their proactive role in the making of the king, emperor. This nobility was something like kingmakers. You must have heard some of the names like Jahandar Shah, that is called Zulfikar Khan. You must have heard about the Sayyid brothers. So these are the people who were using their power, who were applying their weight to actually get the real power. They were making kings. They were contributing the lot to make kings, but actually they were keeping them as their puppets. They were actualizing the real power in their hands. So that was the situation where emperor, where king, ruler were dependent over these nobility. They were not free to take their decisions, and that further accentuated the problem of factionalism, groupism, revolts and rebellions within the court. It was not their practice, Rishabh. There's no logic for that. Some of the people who are defining this, there are some dynasties where it was defined, there are some dynasties where it was not defined. So during the entire medieval period, the Muslim period, you will see, the Muslim dynasties, you will not find the rule of succession. Even that was the situation scenario during the Sultanate period, and even it was the situation during the time of what I say that is called Mughals. Even not during the time of the great Mughals it was. Aurangzeb had to fight to get the throne. Shah Jahan had to fight to get the throne. Even Jahangir was suspicious to get the throne. That's why he caused for the murder of what I say Abul Fazl. Shah Jahan also revolted against Jahangir and Nur Jahan Junta. Aurangzeb also fought the war of succession with his brothers. So this was not defined, not even defined during the time of the great Mughals. But it was also the factor that contributed a lot in the decline of the Mughals. I will come to Gauru, I will come to that question also. Please just try to understand whatever I am delivering this time. So this was another factor, weak and incapable rulers. Now coming to the next. Degenerated economy. Degenerated economy. And of course rampant corruption you can add also here, and rampant corruption was also responsible for the decline of decline of what I say, decline of Mughals. Why degenerated economy? Why this degenerated economy? Because heavy taxes, heavy taxation was there that burdened the peasantry class, that is called the farmer class, and this peasantry was unable to pay revenue. This was a loss in the days, loss of revenue for the Mughals in the days to come. Heavy taxation was responsible for the decline of the revenue as well. Now another factor, frequent wars. Frequent wars, and of course invasion also. Wars will incur economic loss. Are you getting it? If you are engaged in constant warfare, definitely it will consume your state exchequer. It will consume your state fund. That is another factor. Then frequent invasions. There are other factors as well that was contributing toward the degeneration of economy during the Mughal period. Corruption. There was corrupt practices. I will let you know. Corruption was at its height during the time of Muhammad Shah. Muhammad Shah, as Mughal emperor, started demanding his share or cut from the bribes taken by his nobility. If some of his officials or nobility is taking bribe from the people, he was demanding his share into that. He was asking for his cut. कि ये मेरा cut होगा, ये मेरा share होगा, भैया दे दो. So this was the kind of corruption over there. So this corruption and degenerated economy also contributed towards the decline of what I say, that is called what? That is called decline of Mughals. Is it fine with everyone? Now, another factor, fourth, then coming to the next factor. Emergence of regional states. Will cause for the decline of what I say, Mughals. Decline of Mughals, decline of Mughal revenue, decline of the Mughal power, etc. Now, then religious and cultural classes. Religious and cultural classes. Clashes that created Hindu-Muslim divide, Muslim and non-Muslim divide. It created what? Created Muslim and non-Muslim divide. That further weakened what I say, that is called Mughal Empire. Is it okay with everyone? Is it okay, sirs and ma'ams? Finally, last but not the least, seventh point. Inefficient administration inefficient administration, and weakening of military power, and gradual weakening of military power. Is it fine? Not able to understand the fifth point? Emergence of regional states. Suppose this is your Mughal Empire. So then it was Mughal Empire. Suppose it was here. So after the breaking of the Mughals, some states like Hyderabad, Awadh, Bengal, they all came into the power. Earlier they used to be the part of the Mughal Empire, directly or indirectly. There are certain other states also. That's why I'm telling you directly or indirectly, because they were a direct breakaway of the Mughals. They are called the succession states. Hyderabad, Awadh, Bengal, they were the succession states. That is the direct breakaway of the Mughals. Mughals were getting revenue. These were the Mughal territory. Now this was under independent, you can say independent dynasties. So of course, Aditya Raj, it was there. Civil war was quite frequent at that time. So the presence of nobility is also a part of the point 6. What is that 6? Yes, Chinchlis Khan, Ashafza, Nizamul Mulk. He was a nobility. He was a part of nobility who created an independent state. So these were the points that ultimately caused for the decline of the Mughals. Now the second topic that I want to start. So now see. Now you can write the factors decline for the Mughal Empire. Now see. Now we understood the process of decline. We understood the factors for the decline that contributed towards the decline of the Mughals. Now we try to understand the disintegration of the Mughals, that we will also understand in the emergence of regional states. But before that, we will try to understand the weak and incapable rulers. What actually happened after 1707? What was the situation before? Seventh point, again, what was that point? Inefficient administration, inefficiency of the administration. It was paralyzed, it was not working, it was cumbersome, everyone works for no one's work, there are no check and balance, there was court intrigues, factionalism, groupism within the courts, etc. Jagirdari crisis was also responsible for the decline of the Mughals, but I'm not going to discuss right over here in GS part. But definitely if you are pursuing your, that is called optional, then you can understand it as a Jagirdari crisis. Even though, अरे यार सयान राशिद, पैसे नहीं होंगे तो मिलिट्री लॉस तो होगा ना, आप सैलरी नहीं दोगे. It was not frequent. Why people will be attached to you? Okay. लाओ यार एक और डिस्कशन, एक है फोर्थ पॉइंट, डिजेनरेटेड इकोनॉमी एंड करप्शन. डिजेनरेटेड इकोनॉमी का मतलब पैसा नहीं रहेगा तो कहां से रहेगा? If you are economically bankrupt, how you can be a power? Now you can see in the present global scenario, everyone is fighting for territory or everyone is fighting for economy? Everyone is fighting for economy. And the biggest trading company in this country in this world is your United States of America, who is this superpower. I'll let you know. Abhi just forget about it. Itna comfortable hai na, everything will come in the discussion. Rishita, it's India company. I will bring it into this discussion. You don't worry for that. And later on you can add to all the points. I'm just trying to build your concept. I'm trying to make you understand what was the actual situation during the 18th century. But it doesn't mean that these are the only factors that were contributing towards the decline of the Mughals. Weak and incapable rulers, Diksha, iska matlab ye ho gaya, because they were dependent on someone else. They were not independent. They were dependent on their nobilities. They were bankrupt. They were incapable to take any decision. They were surrounded by the flatteral people, corrupt people, etc. just forget everything now. Is it okay? 7-8 points are sufficient to write if the question comes in your examination. Although it is a part of, I'm just making you the background. Why I'm making you the background? Just try to understand. I'm telling you. See, now let me come to you. So with the, just try to understand now, with the decline of Mughals, Mughal Empire started disintegrating. Mughal Empire started disintegrating, and when it started disintegrating, then it gave rise to regional states. Now you could understand why I'm going to make a discussion over these topics. And when the Europeans will come, obviously I'm talking about the Britishers especially, Europeans will come, they will have, obviously I'm talking about the Britishers, let me be specific here, Britishers had to counter with these regional states. Mughals were weak. Mughals were not capable enough to resist these European powers. Instead of Mughal power, because that was not an all India power now in 18th century, when we will see the transformation of Britishers from a commercial entity to a political entity after the Battle of Plassey. I will let you know. Listen me carefully. अभी आपको जो भी पता है, that's all fine. But try to concentrate or focus जो मैं बताना चाह रहा हूँ. ठीक है? So just try, let me finish. So these are regional states. जिससे ये बात करेंगे कौन? Britishers. And that's why we will see Anglo-Mysore War, Carnatic Wars, we will see Anglo-Maratha War, Anglo-Sikh War, such kind of wars you will see in your modern Indian history. So from where these states came? How these states formed? When Mughals were on an all India power. So decline of the Mughals is quite important to understand, that we did now. Then emergence of regional states we will look into, but how or why regional states got their birth just because of incapable, inefficient, dependent Mughal emperors. They were called the later Mughals. Then the question automatically comes in mind that after the death of Aurangzeb, were all the Mughal emperors weak, timid? Was the situation was not in their favor? Can I say the situation was not in their favor? I'll let you know. Few times before that, even during the time of Muhammad Shah, it was possible to revive or regain the vitality of Mughals. But Muhammad Shah was not capable. He was timid. He was a corrupt. He was a mentally bankrupt person. He could not encash the opportunity to revive Mughal power. If you can expect, if you face such kind of a question in your examination, then what will happen? Because आपकी समझ तो क्या है? After 1707, after the death of Aurangzeb, Mughal Empire lost. How you will answer such type of the questions? How you will counter such type of the questions? That's why I told you in the very introduction class, you must develop comprehensive understanding, a critical bent of the mind in the historical events. And without doing so, I'm making you sure you won't be able to write a perfect answer. Nothing can be perfect. At least you won't be able, that kind of the question answer, you won't be able to frame that kind of the answer that will fetch you 5.5 marks out of 10. मैं आपको बहुत बड़ा सपना नहीं दिखा रहा हूं कि after this class you will get 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. No, our struggle is just to fetch 5.5 to 6 marks, which is in itself is a very ambitious task. Are you getting me? So now, entire decline of the Mughals that we did, We have to look into this regional states, but between this declining process and the emergence of regional states, there were later Mughals. Later Mughals, they were the weak, they were timid, they were not in a position to handle the situation, and they allowed the disintegration of the Mughal empires. That's why we need to analyze each and every personality, or the significant personality rather. It would be better to discuss significant personality in such kind of a development. That's why after decline of the Mughals, we need to talk about the later Mughals and then regional states, because these later Mughals allowed the disintegration of the Mughal empire, and that led to the emergence of regional states. Is it fine or not? It's my humble request to all of you, please be focused over the discussion and stay throughout the class, because I let you know in the very beginning, in the topic of 18th century India, I will even discuss the situation on the condition of education at that time. Anil Dasu, is it clear? If you will come up with this kind of the question, definitely it will dilute your concentration, it will dilute your dedication and focus towards the class, towards me, and you won't be able to get 100% out of the class. Is it okay? Arijit, we will talk lots of things about that. Okay, na? Is it okay? Is it comfortable for everyone? It is clear till now. Devang Pandit, that's fine. What about others? Everyone come forward. Muskan, you don't worry. I will finish your class within the allotted time. You don't worry for that. Is it okay? Okay. Everyone come forward here. फटाफट वाला, because it is a virtual class ना, जहाँ हम और आप अगर एक दूसरे को मिल रहे होते तो I could have been able to understand your undercurrents, but यहाँ तो मुझे पता नहीं, just through my भाई ये जो comments हैं, chats है, through this. Yes, Muskan, I am taking your name. Muskan Verma, I am taking your name. ठीक है? Okay, now. Now. So where did this now? Now coming to the later Mughals. So are you getting the sequence? Decline of the Mughals, later Mughals, and then emergence of regional states. Okay? Chal. Now coming to the discussion itself. Now later Mughals. Okay. Just let me. See, these are the factors for the decline of the Mughals: religious policy of Aurangzeb, absence of rule of succession, weak and incapable king, degrading economy and rampant corruption, rise of regional states and foreign invasions, cultural and religious conflict, administrative and military inefficiency. So all the factors are here. Rishi, it will be in kind of injustice, that's why, but I will, ठीक है, I will try to, ठीक है, सबका साथ सबका विकास. Okay, now coming to the path of decline that I have done this 1787, 1750, 1759, 1883, 1857, everything is done over here. So यहाँ भी सब कुछ है, everything is here. So this is a timeline. In what happened in 1707, what happened in 1750s, 1759, 1803, 1857, right? So everything is here, you don't worry. Now coming to later Mughals, okay, right? So I'm coming to later Mughals. Actually, see, about Mughals, a very basic thing. I'm taking you to the very basics. Mughal emperors from 1526 to 1707. They were called Great Mughals. They are called Great Mughals. Great Mughals. And these Great Mughals were Babur, then Humayun, then Akbar, then Jahangir, then Shah Jahan, then Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb died in 1707. And after 1707 till 1857, they are called Later Mughals. Later Mughals. Later Mughals. Are you getting me? So they are called Great Mughals. They are called Later Mughals. So after the death of Aurangzeb, Mughals did not decline. Rather, they were in existence. They were continuing till 1857. But the greatness, the dignity, the respect, the power of the Great Mughals was lost now. Now the emperors were, or the Badshah were, weak, dependent, mentally corrupt, economically bankrupt, military dependent on others. Sometimes they are dependent on Marathas, sometimes they were dependent on what I say that is called the Europeans. So this period is characterized by weak and incapable rulers, and that is the story of Later Mughals. The question comes automatically in our mind, was all the emperors were weak enough? Was their policies were actually backfiring? So we need to understand some significant emperors during this period from 1707 to 1857, so we could have a very better idea about the 18th century India or till mid of 19th century. You may get questions, you may get good analytical question from these areas. UPSC can come any day with any type of the questions. You don't worry for that. So these are just the application of your brain. Very applied questions are coming. If you won't be clear with this thought process, this type of the critical bent of your mind, I'm sure you will write a very, in fact, below average answers. Okay? Okay, now, so Later Mughals. So what happened? After Aurangzeb, now I'm coming to the topic, second topic, that is called Later Mughals. We came into this, Later Mughals. So after Aurangzeb, he had 5 sons, but we are talking in terms of 3 sons only. He had 5 sons, but we are talking only 5 sons, 3 sons. 3 sons were Muazzam, Azam, and Kambaksh. Now, you have read about one of the factors for the decline of Mughals was that there was an absence of rule of succession. So when there was no rule of succession, who will succeed? his father king or the king, definitely it will cause for civil war. It will lead to war of succession, and that happened. So after the death of Aurangzeb, Muazzam and Azam fought war of succession. Then also Muazzam and Kambakhsh fought another war of succession. Since he was the victor and he came to the throne after Aurangzeb, that's why we need to understand the things in his context only. So Muazzam fought a battle of Zazua in 1787 and defeated Azam and came to the throne with the title of Bahadur Shah. Bahadur Shah first. He had taken the title of Bahadur Shah first and came through the king and became emperor, right? But his position was still challenged by his another brother whose name was Kambakhsh. So he defeated Kambakhsh also, which can be seen as a sequel of War of Succession, and that happened in year 1709 in the Battle of Hyderabad, or you can say Battle of Bijapur. So in the Battle of Bijapur, in 1709, after becoming emperor, he also defeated his another brother Kambakhsh and he came to the throne. Now some other points. Muazzam or Bahadur Shah, when came to the throne, he was in post-retirement age. Today, in general, we get retirements after the age of 60 years, and the post 60 year is known as post-retirement age. So when he came to the throne, he was at the age of 65 years. 65 years. When the people are retired from the active stage of their life. So he was retired from his active stage of the life. He was not very much keen or interested into the active politics, but he did. But some of the historians said that, or commented over his age, that he is Shah-e-Bekhavar, who is not aware of anything. Shah means king, Bekhavar means not aware. And that's why he is titled as Shah-e-Bekhavar, because he was too old to become emperor. Are you getting me? So the very basic thing about Bahadur Shah. So after the death of Aurangzeb, just in absence of the rule of succession, his brothers started or involved into what I say, a civil war or a war of succession, in which finally his eldest son, Muazzam, emerged victorious and succeeded him under the title of Bahadur Shah first. Now, it's time to discuss about Bahadur Shah first. Which kind of emperor he was? Are you getting me? Yes, Ankit, he was from 1787 to 1712. That's fine. So now, let me talk about this Bahadur Shah. His reign is from 1787 to 1712. His reign is characterized by, there are certain important things that have taken place during his reign. The first and foremost thing is that reversal of the policies of Aurangzeb, because he well understood that the policies his father had adopted was not in favor of, in the larger benefit of the Mughal Empire. So reversed all his religious policies. He left the policy of breaking of the temples. He left the policy of forceful conversion into Islam He lived the policy of imposing his personal faith over his subjects, over his people. So he had just reversed the policies of Aurangzeb. Then, by doing so, he tried to keep associated non-Islamic people with the Mughal state. Is that fine? Now, second point, pursuing the policy of compromise and conciliation. Compromises and conciliation. What is this compromise and conciliation? Actually, there were certain neighboring states. These states were in Rajputana. These states were in Marathwada, that is in the Marathas I'm talking about the Rajputs. There were Jats, there were Bundelas, there were Sikh. So what was the relation of these states with the Mughals during the time of Bahadur Shah? We need to understand that. And in that context, we could understand the policies of Bahadur Shah. Then we will be able to understand his compromises and his conciliations with these states. How he compromised with these states, how he led the policy of conciliation with these states. So need certain historical incidences that happened during his time. So pursuing the policy of compromises and conciliation. Just take the example of Rajputs and Marathas. Just take two examples first. Initially, like other emperor, like his father also, I can say like Aurangzeb, he wanted to hegemonize Rajputana. And there were two important Rajput states at that time that is worth mentioning over here. One is Amir, and other one is your, Marwar. This Marwar is today Jodhpur, in and around Jodhpur. This Amir is somewhere around Jaipur. So initially he tried to hegemonize these states, Rajput states, Amir and Marwar both. The king, how he tried to do so? Here was a king whose name was Jai Singh. He was a great diplomat, he was a great military commander, he was a scientific person, etc. And in Marwar, there was a king whose name was Ajit Singh. Just established his control, Bahadur Shah tried to compromise with Jai Singh and give the support of his brother Vijay Singh. It means that Bahadur Shah had a clear intention to keep a puppet king in the form of Sahu in place of that is called Jai Singh. Jai Singh actually wanted some high positions, some mansabs, some jagirs. In Gujarat, and he was looking for into Malwa, Ajit Singh. Instead of getting high jagirs, big jagirs or the mansabs, what he found that Badshah or emperor is trying to replace him by his brother Vijay Singh. So he revolted. Bahadur Shah tried to subjugate Ajit Singh. He also revolted. as soon as this revolt started simmering, Bahadur Shah sensed it and made a compromise with them. Made compromise with them. He left the issue of Vijay Singh here and he left the policy to subjugate Vijay Singh. But he did not granted their demands and not fulfilled his demands of getting higher mansabs or jagirs. So it was a superficial kind of compromise that we can see over here. So the moment came, he conciled with them. He went for conciliation with these states. You can take the example of Maratha also. Since a long time, Marathas were asking to recognize their right to collect Chauth and Sardeshmukhi. Chauth and Sardeshmukhi, these are two taxes in Marathas. There are two taxes. One is Chauth, other is your Sardeshmukhi. Sardeshmukhi is 10%, 1/10 of the production. That is 1/10 of the production, that is 10% of the production. This is 1/4, which is 25% of the production. 25% and the 10%. Being hereditary chief of the Marathas were asking to collect Sardeshmukhi. And Chauth, the right to collect Chauth, that is called 25%. But what Bahadur Shah did? He accepted their demand to collect Sardeshmukhi, but did not recognize or accepted the demand to collect Chauth. So this was again, it was a policy of compromise and conciliation with the Marathas, but again it was half-hearted. So it was a superficial kind of compromises and conciliation with the Marathas as well. So that's why I had written here, he had pursued the policy of compromise and conciliation with Rajputs, Marathas. His relation with Guru Gobind Singh Ji, 10th Sikh Guru, was good enough. But after Guru Gobind Singh Ji, when the political leadership came in the hands of Banda Bahadur, their interest started conflicting with each other. The relation was not good enough. So there was a time period of Bahadur Shah first itself that up to for some time he had good relation with the Sikh. When the political power transferred into the hands of Banda Bahadur, this relation was not good enough. It was not fair enough. But of course with Bundelas and Jats, Bahadur Shah first was in good relation. He maintained friendly relations. So it was his approach towards the regional states with some of the states at that time. Try to understand this. So this phase is characterized by what I say, reversal of the policies of Aurangzeb. This phase is also characterized by the policies of compromise and conciliation, but this compromise and conciliation was half-hearted. So what does it mean? What is the significance of this? It kept the issues live. He kept the issues live. In the days to come, in the later days, Maratha will rise against the Mughals. Jat will revolt. Even Rajputs will not be will be a collaborator like they used to be with the Mughals. So just try to understand the developing cracks in the social base of the Mughals. Are you getting me? Then you would be able to understand why this decline of the Mughals culminated into the disintegration of the empire. So he maintained some kind of the friendly relations, but this relationship was not with the Fevicol bond kind of the bond. It was superficial kind of things. It was very delicate. Relationship of friendship was maintained. Any day it could have been disturbed. Are you getting my points or not? Everything is fine, sirs and ma'ams. Are you getting me? Now, ज्योति भाटी, एक दिन की क्लास में कैसे PYQ से करेंगे? अभी तो एक टॉपिक भी खत्म नहीं हुआ है. Forest vibes. Is everything is okay? Now it's the time to talk about your queries. Do you have any query? मेल जोल सिखा, सुलह. Are you getting me? Are you listening me, or you are focusing over some other issue? Thank you, Girisha. Because kings were powerful at that time, this time not. Aarti? No doubt. Okay, thank you very much. मेल मिलाप सीखा, सबको बता देना, कंसिलेशन से मेल मिलाप से रहना. थैंक यू आशीष. गीताला, थैंक यू. Taxes, yes. Thank you, wonderful. Thank you, Prerna. Thank you. Amir. Again, we will continue with this topic. I was something like कि आज ये खत्म हो जाएगा, but it didn't. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Lots of love and the blessings. See you tomorrow with the same topic in a continuation. And it's time to bid good night. Again, we will come back with this topic, and yesterday I will be covering the regional states as well. Okay? So after tomorrow, we will be speeding up the things. Just I'm preparing a background for you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. With lots of love and the blessings. Thank you, Bomidi, Dilesh. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Lots of love, the blessings. It's time to say good night. See you tomorrow. Catching you tomorrow at 4:30 at your original time. That is 4:30 to 6:30. I will be there at 4:30. Due to certain personal reasons, I had to reschedule your classes. Otherwise, I could have been on the same time. Tomorrow, I will be catching you at the same time. That is 4:30. Till then, bye-bye. Take care, everyone. Good night. Lots of love and blessings again. Bye. See you tomorrow.